What's up, gamers, and welcome back for more WotC-20. Today's matchup is Meganium Executor versus Magneton with the Dynamo engine, so e-reader Magneton. I know both of these decks pretty well, so I'm excited to not have to look up every single card in existence for this match. Opening is not going to include any Cleffas from either side, so we'll see how this goes, but it looks like Dynamo got the draw and will be starting with a Juggler, so pretty fun support card. They're ditching 2 Lightning Energy to take full effect of Juggler. I think, let's see, Juggler is draw 5 if you discard 2, draw 3 if you discard 1. So very powerful draw card, and it looks like potentially off of that they pull in a Skyridge Voltorb. Excellent card for 1 Lightning Energy. It has a Gust effect on it, and then for 2 attaches it can deal 30, which can take out a Cleffa, and I believe that comes with a recoil of 10. So super fun card in my opinion. I love that Voltorb. I use it in my own Dynamo engine, and it has a free retreat of 1 as well. So if you're not familiar with the Dynamo engine, that Voltorb evolves into an e-reader Electrode, and that Electrode has a power called Super Dynamo. It's from Aquapolis though, whereas that Voltorb is from Skyridge. So yeah, the Dynamo engine is through leveraging Dodrio. We have infinite retreats in this format. Early Town V pitch with the computer search, but I expect this Dynamo deck to run multiple Town V and another Lightning in bin. But the Dynamo engine uses Dodrio. With 1 on the bench, Electrodes can free retreat. You can retreat infinitely in this format. It's not a once per turn deal like in Standard. And with your Electrodes inactive, you can flip a coin, and if you get a heads, you can attach a Lightning Energy from your discard pile to any of your Pokemon. It can be to an Electrode, it can be to a Cleffa, it can be benched, it can be active. Typing doesn't matter, so super cool ramp ability, and the attack on Electrode is also very nice. It's a Lightning and a colorless for Swift, 30 to go through any weakness, resistance, power. Is a super unique effect and very strong in this format. So that is the Dynamo engine. Just saw a hand peep there, but I think there was like a Gust and a Copycat. Didn't catch the hand peep since I guess a Clef is coming out, so there is the first Clef of the match. And then Meganium Eggs, you're probably familiar with from watching this channel. On the other side, using Neogenesis Meganium to power up called shots for Executor and take out benched Pokemon will be super relevant in this matchup. Dynamo relies on a wide bench, but Dynamo decks in general don't run very high HP, so with a Meganium on the board, Called Shot from Executor is likely to be one-shotting a lot of the engine pieces for Dynamo. So anyway, finally Cleffa comes up, and a Recycle Energy will get us the first Eek as we pass back to Mega Egg's first turn. Fan Club from hand is always nice to see. Eccentric comes down as well, so I assume we'll get a Cleffa out here as well as an Execute. We'll have to see how that Chikorita will either stay inactive or not. And there is the Cleffa.
Well, specifically attack on.
Now in this deck, Furret is mostly going to be fetching just basic grass energy. It can grab any energy, so there are some warps in this deck, but it's perfectly fine as a regular basic energy engine as well, when a grass energy counts for 2 and you can have some sort of protection on your own Pokemon, whether that is Meganium on the bench or Executor up front. It's just as good as attaching 2.
I go F for the lead thickness, because I do light line work to be the basis for acrylics. Okay,
Alright. Lots of shuffling going on. I guess while we're waiting on this to continue, the Aquapolis Magnemite on the bench for Dynamo will be the primary attacker eventually, but it does have a noteworthy Pokebody of Conductive Body, where you pay one less to retreat Magnemite for each Magnemite on your bench. So as long as you've got 2 in play, you can swap them in and out of the active as you see fit, and it has a usable attack. Let's see, it looks like that was a grass just to retrieve the Chikorita and a pass back to Dynamo, but and there's our first Electrode, followed by another Voltorb down onto the bench. But Magnemite's attack, Magnet Bomb, probably won't see this game, is 20. Flip, if heads, it does 20 plus 10. If tails, Magnemite takes 10 damage itself. So a little flippy. It probably reminds a lot of people about Haymaker Electabuzz's attack, though not quite as potent. Now, with no Dodrio out yet, I don't think we're going to see Electrode come in and start ramping. You wouldn't want to get it stuck in active and give free Eek. So I see another Juggler for 1, so that'll draw 3.
That's so weird that it's...
And there's got to be, let's see, there were 2 from the first Juggler. There was another. Now, I think there's 4 or 5 Lightning Energy in the bin for Dynamo.
What's up? Yeah, it's attached. So you have to discard from.
Yeah. I'll fire for 2.
Alright, lots of decision making, even though not the biggest hand. Comp Search will get rid of an Energy Stadium and a Magnemite. We'll see if that matters later. Not sure how wide the Magnemite Malign goes in this deck, but it's your primary attacker, so Computer Search is going to bring out Dodrio, which is a big piece here, so now the Dynamo engine is technically online. Stadium is an interesting choice in this deck. It kind of acts as a similar effect to Electrode to get energy back, but you don't necessarily want your opponent to be able to leverage it either. Typical stadiums from this era are going to be benefiting both sides. Not sure about Standard, but if you want a lopsided experience with stadiums, go to the gym sets. Alright, Comp Search is now resolved. Brought in Dodrio. We should see Electrode come into active before turn ends at least. And this roll will be to see if it will get off a Super Dynamo. It is a Tails. Got to figure if it's a Heads, you're probably looking to do some sort of... Either get an Electrode online to take out a Cleffa would really hamstring Mega Eggs right now. But instead we see the primo attacker of this Dynamo list, which is going to be Magneton. And a tempo-oriented Gust to bring the Chikorita back means a free Eek for Cleffa, and now an attach will likely have to be used for Mega Eggs again just to get that Chikorita out of active. Not worth keeping it there for sure. At least for it comes down, and now a trader is going to put away a Meganium, and we'll see what they bring out. They might bring out a Bayleaf. I know that this variant doesn't run Breeder, but while that search is occurring, this Magneton is from Skyridge. So Attract Energy is a pretty cool ability. When evolving into this Magneton, you can move any number of basic energies attached to your other Pokemon to Magneton. So that can be bench, that can be active. It just has to be a basic energy. Of course, this deck only runs basic lightning energy, but if you have energy spread across the board, maybe you've been attaching to different Pokemon with Electrode for insurance purposes, maybe you're attacking to Dodrio, but you don't want to attack with it. You can pull out all of that energy, or as much of it as you want, to Magneton and out of nowhere drop a pretty heavy Electric Blast, which we'll talk about a little bit later. Looks like Trader's going to pull out an Exeggutor. All that tells me is that that is going to either evolve immediately, or there's likely not going to be a... Oh, there's a Grass in hand, so the Chikorita could get taken out of active. Yep, and there's the evolution. but with only 2 cards in hand, I guess you could always attach the grass to get rid of Chikorita here, get it out of active, put in the Cleffa. And then next turn, whatever you draw, you're just going to fur it away anyway with the other card in your hand. Finally attach to Cleffa and hopefully Eek.
Nobody looks at those cards. At the end of your opponent's next turn, your opponent puts those cards back.
Right now, the decision is definitely how to get Cleffa active. With 1 grass energy, I have to imagine the other card is creating some sort of decision dilemma.
Wait till I draw a 7.
Oh, Shaman. BM.
Alright, still some analysis paralysis here, but with the 1 grass energy in hand, I think it's got to be the Chikorita. Oh, it was an Oak. Slammed down. So the Chikorita does get the attach. I guess growling against a Cleffa doesn't make any sense, so I assume we'll see a retreat. But oaking for 7 is very good. You just might not want to...
Demonetized.
Yeah.
I think it was totally fine to oak there. Can't imagine there was another play. It's just an early oak, so you know you're digging through your deck. But with an empty hand, it's definitely the way to go here. And there you see the Chikorita retreated. So now 2 Cleffas staring each other down again. And no other Pokemon go to the bench off of that 7 from Oak.
Everything's out there, but not really.
Looks like there's another Exeggutor in hand from what I can tell. We'll get back to that. For now, another Juggler from Dynamo, and it's going to be 2 again, so another draw 5. So you can see the decks kind of side by side there. Even though Oak was draw 7, Dynamo has plowed through way more cards than Mega Eggs, at least based on deck stack right now. And a Trader to get rid of Igglybuff. Probably doesn't matter much in this matchup. And we'll see what gets pulled out of the deck. Probably another Electrode, so now you'll see double Dynamos each turn here.
Oh, I don't know why I'm showing.
Now, pressing aggro as we were discussing for the previous turn, going for that Swift with Electrode here. A little more risky now that your opponent has oaked and has a full 7. You're not sure what's in that 7, so you can kind of slow it down. You don't have to weigh the decision about going all in here. Powering up Magneton is probably fine enough, but plenty of options. And keep an eye on that Dodrio. Rage is a serious attack if you can get certain damage numbers lined up.
Tails
I cast loaded dice.
The last card in your hand, you don't need that. And then I'll
for the stream.
Alrighty, it looks like we're going to have some physical movements here. I expect them to shortcut this later on in the match, but for each Dynamo, technically it swaps into the active and you got to move the cards. We usually shortcut it, but that's double tails, and you can see Meganium's pilot is thrilled about this. But double tails on Dynamo, it'll happen. Sometimes you'll get double heads. I'm sure we'll see it this round. So Cleffa comes back in. Bench looks good. Might want to start naturally attaching. That's one thing that Dynamo can do well, is if you can leverage the ability to attach from bin with Electrode while also snowballing your free attach per turn, things will start looking pretty good. And another gust to the Chikorita. So that's annoying. Into a free Eek. So this is the 3rd time we're seeing that Chikorita leave the active slot. The 2 grass energies in the bin are just from retreating. Still can't Eek, but that's why the Oak is good here. Alright, tucks 2 with Fur and fails to find. Not sure why.
Are you trying to deck me out?
Maybe though. You're kind of going through that real quick, but
I mean, half of it's right here.
yeah.
I really don't want to play against
I'll fire for 1.
Ooh, okay, so that's why tuck 2 with Fur. We're just going to oak away a ton of resources.
Oh, I see what you're doing.
and attempt to find something, anything. Attach return's already done, but got to start finding Bayleaf. There's one. Got to start finding Meganiums. I see a Focus Band in hand. That's going somewhere right now for sure. Onto the Executor. And certainly another bench slot. Yep, there we go. Found a basic with Chikorita, so now things are looking much better. So second Oak, haven't been able to eke at all. I think that's the correct choice though, because Dynamo is basically going to just start free attaching the longer this drags on. So got to start getting set up.
I should have realized that. I didn't realize that.
Now we're tracking attaches per turn. For those keeping track, that Bayleaf is a Neogenesis Bayleaf, the one with less HP, because there is 2 of them. Has some pretty useful attacks. Poison Powder is 20 flip for poison. That's a grass colorless. And then Pollen Shield for 30 is 2 grass and a colorless. During your next turn, Bayleaf cannot be statused.
Yeah. Dynamo.
Alright, that's one Dynamo attached from the bin to Magneton. Second one is a Tails.
You can attach it anywhere.
And now they're clarifying what Electrode can attach to. It is to anything, though.
Don't worry, that's not us. That's for deck building for Magic. I don't think Josh actually started it.
Energy return on Magneton.
Alright, and energy for turn on Magneton, that's what we were talking about before, where that's where you really get the value from, is combining Dynamo along with your natural attach per turn. It is fun and sometimes a little too tempting to pitch a lot into the bin, and then you just have a bunch of lightning energy sitting there. You hit Tails on Dynamo, and then you're also not attaching for turn if you just don't have it in hand. So, fine line to walk, but that's part of what I think makes the engine fun, and it's a little fun to pilot. And it looks like we're thinking about eking.
Yeah.
Nope. Going for the offensive here, so Magneton comes in. I think it only has 3 here. 3 attaches, so Electric Blast is good. First attempt out of Cleffa succeeds. No free eking for Mega Eggs, and there's no other Cleffa on bench yet. So now that Electric Blast has been used, it's a Lightning and a DCE, although I don't think there are any DCE in this Dynamo deck. But Electric Blast will deal 40, then you must discard all Lightning Energy, and then you put damage counters equal to the number of energy cards removed in that way onto any number of the opponent's benched Pokemon that you like per Lightning Energy. So kind of a mouthful, but he's discarding 2, so that means he can put 2 damage counters anywhere on the bench. So he decided to stack them both onto the benched Bayleaf. New Cleffa does come down, which is kind of frustrating considering the Warp Energy attached to Bayleaf has already gone back active. But at least it's only a 1 attach away from being able to attack. Of course, if you do status the Magneton, it will lose that status on a free retreat with the Dynamo engine free retreating off of Dodrio next turn, but it's still worth something. You would get the Poison Tick from Poison Powder between turns, if not for nothing.
Quiet. 20.
Alright, and that'll be Poison Powder for 20. This Magneton has 80 HP total, and Poison Powder is on flip. It's ahead, so that'll tick up to 30.
30 in between turns.
Alright, so we'll keep an eye on that Magneton being 50 away from being knocked out. 3 Dynamo, that's about as good of a bench setup as you can ask for here. And we have 1 heads,
Dynamo.
2 heads,
3rd Super Dynamo.
3 heads. That happens sometimes too. Attach for turn, maybe? Yep, okay, so that'll spread a lot of damage.
Do you have to do all of them?
I do.
That'll guarantee taking out the Cleffa.
Cards in hand? Oh, God. This hurts. This choice. You made it very
You could put that Bayleaf on bench up to 60 out of 70. That would be pretty brutal. I think taking the Cleffa out is just way too tempting, though. Also, for all the Dynamo rolls, that poison marker should be removed from the board, because to do each Dynamo, that Magneton would have hypothetically gone to the bench. They just shortcut it here.
There's only 2 in there.
I thought it was 3.
I thought it was 3 as well. Are they sticking together?
Alright, so now they're checking for how many gusts are in the bin, trying to figure out if it was 2 or 3 already. I think it was only 2. I know that Chikorita got stuck 3 times.
Well, then I guess it might be worth it. Oh, actually, I could use...
Oh, wait, I got
I still only have 1. But I'm going to put 4.
Think about Town being.
I'm definitely going to Oak. I'm thinking whether or not I want Town B first.
Alright, Town V and O considerations coming up, so while they figure out how that's going to work,
Do you feel like you're going to deck out?
Magneton, Electric Blast,
But
spread damage, could take out the Cleffa and still tag the damaged Bayleaf for 10. That would put it into a gustable knockout if Electric Blast were to get powered up the following turn again. The only thing I don't like about Electric Blast is it's a May to discard your energy, but you have to do all of the energy. So you have to continue high rolling with those Electrodes on the bench and get at least 2 out of 3 as long as you only have 1 recycle energy. An attached for turn that was another recycle energy would at least get Electric Blast a little more consistent. Only having to win 1 coin flip out of the 3 Super Dynamos on your bench is a lot more sustainable than consistently winning 2 out of 3.
I am almost certain that I can't come back from this. I've been out-tempoed energy-wise way too hard.
Now, it's not over here for Meganium. There is still a line where you start pumping Meganium, get 2 attaches, and start getting lucky on sleep flips.
Each one's 20, but like I would need a lot.
Oak.
Just in time to see me lose.
There's a pretty good chance, too. I mean, the Dynamo setup right now is really relying on favorable flips to attack continuously each turn. So even if the active Bayleaf gets evolved, you could stick around for a while. We'll see what the hands dictate from each pilot.
At least have for this weekend. But yeah, just
I did 3.5.
It's really only for like character creation.
You know, and honestly,
I guess we'll finally see this Cleffa get sniped.
Yeah, we can buy never enough that all these people surrounding.
You don't
I
really
told her I
need
bought,
I
that's
don't.
why I bought a pencil sharpener.
It's not going to get me a knockout one way or the other. It's gonna waste your dust.
I agree.
That's fine.
Yeah, I'm going to do 40 here, 30 here, 10 here.
Alright, and it is the 30 to Cleffa, 10 to the damaged Bayleaf spread we were discussing.
I got these in the pencil.
And now they're realizing the poison token should have been removed during Dynamo.
I was like, wait, I left
Shenanigans.
No, I didn't. I forgot to take it away when I was doing all of my other ridiculous nonsense.
Those are better for drawing.
And that'll be a prize for the Cleffa. So back to Meganium here. Tough spot, but
Well, just pointing it out.
Alright.
I just told her.
the current spread up on the Dynamo bench makes me think that Meganium has a line for sure. There's also other jank, like, you know, you have a focus band.
It seems the bottleneck of like you to him back down and just get it anyway. Definitely not anything up the chain. It's like a larger purchase. So he's forward.
Alright, 1 attached to Executor. And Poison Powder is going to, I guess, not poison based on that.
30, you're fine. Because I know you're going to.
Oh, it was a heads. Okay, so discussing taking it by 30. It'll be removed from free retreating anyway. That retreat aid on Dodrio is very, very good. I don't mind the attach to Executor. I just like the
I was really scared.
Pollen Shield is also 30. Let's see.
Any of my crazy bench
Becoming status immune definitely won't help.
ramp to it.
Play the game.
Yeah. Alright, Electro 1, Electro 2.
And if things get really, really desperate, Executor can go for Super Explosion. I mean, discard 2, even without, you know, no Meganium in sight. Discard 2, if Super Explosion high rolls, you can hit 80 and take out anything Dynamo can put active. That looks like an attach per turn.
It's really, really strange. Alright, retreat.
Alright. One attach on that Magneton, we'll keep that in mind. Looks like Dynamo wants to go for an Eek, so maybe those are actually Dynamo rolls. It wasn't attached from hand for turn, it was the bin. But Magneton getting gusted back up here slows things down a little bit. Yeah, that's what we were talking about before. The Dynamo rolls have to be favorable in order to attack consistently. That's giving this Bayleaf some options. Now, that Magneton should also be... should be one attack away from a knockout. I can't read that die from here, but... I'm just not sure if that Magneton is at 60, because I think it got poisoned last time, or if it's at 50 and a coin flip would determine a knockout here, so we'll see.
Surprised? Or you're just not drawing it?
I'm just not drawing it.
Alright, sounds like Meganiums are not prized, but, you know, 2 Oaks in a row, no eking really happening for Meganium. It's going to be hard to find those Meganiums. Alright, it did not need to flip for poison, I was correct. Magneton was at 60, so that's a good prize taken.
No, I mean,
Oh, yeah, too.
on the one
Slow
hand,
attached to the Executor for turn, by the way. Bayleaf is in danger of getting knocked out from 30 damage, so if Dynamos just shift energy back to Swift for Electro, that would do the trick, but keep in mind, I think a computer search might have tossed a Magnemite into the bin earlier in the game, and that'll mean getting another Magneton set up is going to be pretty tricky. Yep, never mind, there's one right now. Not sure if it's a 3-3 line or a 4-4 line in this deck, but if it is a 3-3 line, that's the last one.
no.
And I'm like, oh, I'm uncomfortable here.
Let's start with the energies.
Looks like the Recycle Energy that came back to hand from the knocked out Magneton was about to be attached, but ordering matters, so we're going to go with Dynamos first. That's 1 Dynamo Tails, 2 Tails, just needs 1 for a Swift, and it's there. So I do expect Recycle to come down onto that Electrode.
And
No, a Lightning comes down onto the Electrode.
retreat, cards in hand. Great.
Alright, so that Bayleaf is good as knocked out. A little bit of turn planning here, looks like.
And Swift. Third.
Alright, so now we're down to 3 prizes for Dynamo, 5 for Meganium. Executor comes up front. Now, without Magneton, and now that you're attacking with Electrode for Swift, Swift is a good attack, but 80 HP on Executor means that Swift needs to happen for a while, and as long as Furret's on the bench chilling, as long as there's cards in hand, Furret can keep fetching energy, so could be worse for Meganium, could be a lot better. Playing to outs right now is going okay, and keep in mind those deck stacks teed up right across from each other. Meganium has way more cards to work with. If you do get enough cards to item finder for an Oak or top deck a Cleffa or something, you can really burn resources and feel comfortable about it. All right. Okay, yeah, so that Grass Attach is going to put Called Shot up to 30. That will take out the benched Cleffa, so that'll be a prize for Meganium. And at this point, taking prizes is basically drawing cards, so gotta do it if you want to keep power and fur it up. Don't even need to attach next turn if you don't have the means to. You could do a Called Shot for 30, attach the following turn once you get 2 cards in hand for fur it if needed, and then you can tag something for 40, whether that's the Dodrio or the Electrodes. Alright, more Dynamo rolling. Looks like it was 1 out of 3, I think, based on how the board looks. It was either 2 out of 3 or 1 out of 3. And the attach for turn, lots of energy on board. So you can keep swifting, but that's a long road as well. I think prizing being 4 to 3 does not indicate how this match has been going up to this point. If you can take down the Dodrio, though, the free retreating becomes brutally difficult for Electrode. Nothing you couldn't get back slowly over time, but you have to really plan how many flips you're willing to take per retreat. Alright, now I'd be thinking about how to take out the Dodrio, but it might not be as necessary if there's no Magnetons coming, so I would be checking the bin right now, getting a good count on it. Swift for 30 out of 80, so can't feel horrible about it. Remember, there's always Super Egg Explosion. Ooh, big draw. The Meganium is a big draw.
No, shit, that's 24 to 60. That's my bad.
You can put 60 there.
Alright, Called Shot's now doing 60, so that picks off Magnemites. Alright, sounds like a Magnemite with energy is going to the bin. So now we're at prize parity, it's 3-3. One more attach, which will be possible next turn with Furret, and you can take out the Dodrio.
Electrode.
That's 1 Dynamo Heads.
Electrode 2. Electrode 3.
2 Dynamo Heads, so immediately powers up the Electrode. Keep in mind, if a Magneton comes down, all that energy can get siphoned to it. That'd be a big attack. Attach for turn on the Magnemite.
And with a copycat.
And a Copycat for 2, pitching all the recycle energies. I would have liked to see the recycle energies come down as the attach for turn. You know, if something gets sniped from the Meganium, it goes back to your hand. I guess not sniped from Meganium, but the Meganium deck.
Unless I opened one away earlier. Two?
Alright, unclear what the 2 cards off a Copycat are, but have to imagine he's looking for a Magnemite here.
Swift?
No, I don't think that's the move because of this guy.
I mean, Swift wouldn't even trigger it.
I know, but it'll trigger it the 3rd time I have to do it. That's a slow. I think. Is there any energy here? Maybe Gust there.
Alright, Gust comes out to take Meganium off of the bench into the active slot.
There's a custom forged constructor.
Okay, I think I've heard.
And that Meganium does have a retreat cost of 3, but we've already seen warp energies in this deck. Ferret's out. It's the right choice. And it does prevent the Executor from hitting that critical 70.
And justified.
Yeah.
But it doesn't protect the Magnemites.
Like, I had one on board that was doing work, and now it is on.
Rather than killing this person. So I go from that, and basically my first placement was this one.
Alright, another Magneton with another... Or sorry, Magnemite with another energy. Hits the bin. And now Meganium is winning.
I've been using it.
With the Ferret down, I almost would have saved the Gust for later. But...
Dynamo.
clearly trying to keep that Dodrio from getting sniped. 2 Dynamo Tails. Not sure where that one went. Looks like it was a heads. Attaches to the electrode. That's interesting. I guess it's safer to keep the energy on that electrode, hoping you can draw into a Magneton and grab the energy off of it with the ability. Of course, if that Magnemite gets picked off from called shot, not gonna see that Magneton anyway.
Three for you?
Yep.
Every time I get through it as much as I can. Get through it. Suck. Everything sucks. I didn't do like some little.
Alright, 2 cards in hand. Or actually, no, that's 3. 3 cards in hand. So Ferret could be used here to scavenge and hunt. And that is exactly what is happening.
90% sure that was the
Good bit of deck peep there. Plenty of cards left in deck. Saw a Cyclone Energy. That could be an interesting option. If you ever want to force something out of the active and then hit it with Called Shot.
Sorry. Wait.
It's fine.
Right, and extra check on the deck peep.
With it's used for Golden Ball, and it's just a series of one-shots. You play them like one after another with the same character, which we
Look how
can.
big.
Alright, another Magnemite to the discard pile. Is that the 3rd one now, I think, that Executor is taken out? Gotta take that Executor to the bin sooner or later. Just hit through Focus Band. That's all you gotta do. Interesting, Igglybuff comes down. No, just kidding.
Why make your life easy? It's so easy. I think see a big coin flip going
Yep.
I guess I'm gonna do this real quick. Dynamo.
Alright, 3 Dynamo rolls, 1 tails,
Yes.
1 heads, and what will the last one be? Looks like we're gonna start attaching to Dodrio and tails.
Swift.
Alright, rolling for Focused Band. Tails. That was a big flip. If that Focus Band saved the Executor, you can Ferret for another energy, attach to Executor, Called Shot for game. Instead, we're going to play it out. Computer search for an Oak, maybe? There's already 2 in the bin. Can't imagine there's a lot more juice. Okay. Yep, the last the last card in the deck for Meganium with any draw power, other than Cleffa's, happens to be this single copy of Copycat. Not sure if a Copycat was played. I know Dynamo played one on a hand of 2 earlier. Can't remember if Meganium already played a Copycat, but looks like it'll be Copycat for 4 off of that comp search. Just need a grass energy. You can start swinging with Meganium. That Meganium is pretty damaged, though. I think I see a grass energy. Alright, Chikorita comes down onto the bench. Yeah, I don't think Razor Leaf from Chikorita is a good game plan right here, but Meganium in its own right is an excellent attacker. Yeah, it looks like it's going to be Soothing Scent for 40 and Sleep with no flip to get it tagged onto the active. It's just going to be a flip to see if this Electrode wakes up, and if it doesn't, it'll get knocked out. So,
It's good. Yeah.
looks like that was a heads. That would have been for game. But yeah, Meganium being able to deal 40 and sleep for 2 attaches as long as its power is on and it's, able to attack, it's not statused, is fantastic.
I'm going to Super Dynamo.
One Dynamo, I guess another Dynamo. Alright, well,
Everything's got energy.
everything can attack. Can't really use the excess to power up a Magneton right now.
Retreat.
And getting the damage electrode out of there. So now Gust for game is something to keep an eye on. Bring in another electrode. And let's see. Meganium has 100 HP. I think it has 60 on it right now. You can bring it up to 70. Or 90, sorry.
I haven't played one for turn.
I don't know.
Dynamo successfully twice, right?
Yeah.
And I already had one on.
Yeah. I just don't know if you put that third one there this time.
Yeah, with
No, that one's definitely.
Meganium in the active,
This is just my great.
any sleep roll that goes Meganium's way will likely end the game here. I doubt Dynamo's packing any warp energies or any way to get a sleep Pokemon out of active.
I should probably just keep trying to survive that.
Yeah.
I think trading blows here is the only way forward for either side to win.
What is a 4th Gust?
Yep, I sure do. And I'm thinking about Chikorita.
Can't one-shot it.
I know.
Lots of decision making here. We'll let him play it out.
Was asking himself, does he have more energy?
Yeah.
I'm kind of asking that.
Do you want to know how many I've got in the bin?
Sure.
Okay, it looks like they're going to do an energy check. Unclear if this is to consider an energy removal or a gust for whether or not retreating would be able to happen. They're counting grass. They should probably count warps too. Yep.
Yeah, and you have to play at least 2 in the deck. Those are both showing. But do you play?
All right, third warp being considered.
4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10.
So 10 grass in the bin, 2 on the active, 12 grass energy is a lot.
You're probably between 16 and 18.
12 grasses. They're all doubled.
one of those games
Ideally,
that, like,
so.
you eat your life while playing it, and afterwards you're like,
You play 18. 17 or 18 energy in that deck.
I don't think so.
All right, sounds like Dynamo's pretty convinced
that's all I got.
that there is more energy in the deck for Chikorita to retreat out of active.
Just the one. Ah, that makes the decision a little bit easier. Yeah,
One card in hand, but you're going to draw into 2 with Furret next turn. Sounds like gusting Chikorita is going to happen. I guess
He's gonna.
force them to do it if you know a sleep is coming your way. 30 to Chikorita, but you need 2 prizes if you're Dynamo, so Furret is going to put 2 in, and we're going to go searching for a Warp. I see a Cyclone. I see 2 Cyclones. Doesn't do much in this matchup.
Okay. We can do that.
Alright, it will be Cyclone. And that Cyclone's probably going to be used to just run away. Now, was grabbing a Grass or a Cyclone the right play there? Let's see. You can retreat, deal 40, and sleep the Dodrio. Growl just can't be the right choice here. Oh, God, no. I've never really had to read Growl before too deeply, but it only reduces incoming damage next turn by 10. Yeah, that's not the way to go. So we'll definitely see the Chikorita retreat.
What's that?
Coming up and making the flip board.
40? 40 and sleepy?
Alright, Dodrio comes in, 40 and asleep. Big flip again. This is the 3rd flip to potentially end the game. It wakes up again, good lord.
Do you have anything that can deal 30?
Keep in mind now that Dodrio is going to be dealing 50 damage, so would have been good to save the gust for that.
And we pray that you don't have the ability to get Sentret up and running.
Well, he only has 1 card in his hand.
Oh, that's true.
Needed this last turn.
Yeah.
That would have won me the game.
Alright, sounds like that might be it.
Yeah, you win.
Alright, that'll be a scoop. Card off the top was Gust, which also would have ended the game the previous turn. And the 3rd Warp was prized. That's how it goes. That's what happens with baby flips and coin flips in general. The Pokemon card game, everybody. Particularly WotC-20 flavored, so.
Another one ready?
Good game, back and forth, 1 prize finish. And hit your heads. Thanks for watching.
Tries to knock out your Executor on a coin flip.
Yeah, I was gonna say, I really hate phrasing it this way, but, like, man, you got lucky.
I got lucky at the end.
Well,
I
I got tails on the focus band.
I missed,
which
like,
was game.
Yeah, that's
You
true.
got heads on the sleep, which
Yep.
was game. You got heads on the next sleep, which
Yep.
was game.
Yep.
And then you got heads on the next sleep.
That's true. That's true.
There were 4 points where I had game if you flipped tails.
But in the beginning, I missed like more than 75%
Oh,
of my
yeah.
Super Dynamos,
Yeah.
where I could have gotten rid of the entire possibility of you ever having Meganium if I made them. So
James, do you mind reporting the Christian one?
the coin flips,
Thank you.
the coin flips evened out at the end.
So I've got a stupid idea.
Yeah,
like,
it's just frustrating that.
Yes,
They've also got stupid ideas.
it's always frustrating to lose on coin flips. All right.
Why did you come back? I lost the coin.
Why
flip.
did you come back?
Whenever she comes back from Barnes and Noble,
She was so-
I lose to coin.
You were
flip.
so focused, and then you just like.
It's because she's my bad lecturer.
Well, I'm glad I don't have to play against grass.
Oh, we're not playing.
No, I won.
So are you 2-0?
Yeah.